Hey everybody, welcome back to How to Become a Freelancer in 30 Days. This is Anthony Chatfield and you're watching Day 8. Today we're going to talk about creating some key accounts to run your business. Before we get started though, I wanted to just touch base with everybody, see how everything's going. We're a full week into the program now. And if you're still watching, I hope everything is going really well. If you haven't yet, I'd really appreciate if you could leave any comments or feedback or questions on any individual day or just in general on the course. I will write back immediately. I love your feedback, and I'm actually have added a lot of content to the program based on that feedback. Also, if you're at this point, if you feel like it and it really would make me feel wonderful, feel free to leave a overall rating for the course or even just a quick review or commentary on where you're at. If you're going to keep continuing and moving forward, absolutely should wait until the end and see how you did. But in the meantime, love your feedback. It really helps me to do better things. And if you have a question that I haven't covered in one of these days, I will absolutely record something and shoot it over. I want you to get the most out of this. I want you to be successful. That's what this is all about. All right. So that said, let's dive right into Day 8. We're going to be talking about creating those key accounts, all that stuff you maybe have not created yet. We're going to get it going today. So the goals today are to finalize your company name and start the setup process for key online accounts. We're not going to talk about the company name too much more today. If you are ready to get going with that, finalize it, figure it out today. If you're not, something to keep on the radar, put in the background to think about as we move forward. But we're going to start the process for setting up key online accounts. And if you do have a business name, I would use that to sign up for these. We're also going to put in motion next steps for the development of your business. Again, remember, this is a business. So the things I'm going to show you right now are the building blocks of a business. And then finally, we're going to determine the logistics of how you'd like to be paid. If you're using Elance, it's pretty basic. They're going to put the money into escrow. It's going to go into your bank account directly. But if you get something direct or you meet somebody while out networking, how are you going to get paid? We'll talk about that today. So in terms of tools, there are a lot of different options. I've broken this down into what you can pay for and what you can get for free. So the first batch of things you can pay for, and this is all stuff I would personally recommend as having used it myself. Google Apps for Business is about $5 per month per user. And if you have purchased your domain name, even if you don't have a website yet, you can use this to create a email address at yourdomainname.com and access that email through Gmail. So, for example, if you have, if your name is John Smith and you bought johnsmith.com, you can have an email address that's john@johnsmith.com. Google Apps lets you do that, and you can also use the calendar tool and the Drive tool and all the other tools for Google through that domain name. In terms of web hosting, there's a lot of good options. I don't actually currently use HostGator, but in terms of low-cost options, it's your best bet. You can get a website hosting account set up there for between $3 and $8 a month. And it's really solid. I've never had downtime there when I've had websites on there, and I've recommended it to a lot of people. Bluehost is another one that's really good along those same lines. I personally use right now, because I'm sure you'll ask, what I'm using is called WiredTree.com. And they do more dedicated and managed services, so it costs quite a bit more. If you plan on building a lot of websites or want somebody to run your server for you so you can go in and do all sorts of stuff on the back end, WiredTree's amazing. But if all you need is a website hosted somewhere, HostGator or Bluehost will get the job done. And then in terms of your business, you might decide to create an LLC. I would recommend it as soon as you start making decent money. And it's just because it protects you. If somebody decides to get upset or if you have a problem, you want to be protected so that nobody can sue you or whatever else ends up happening for personal assets. An LLC will do that. It's very basic. If you set it up in Delaware, it only costs a couple $100 and then you're good to go. Keep in mind too, any business or tax advice, and again, there is no business or tax advice here. Please talk to a lawyer or an accountant. But anything I talk about to that end, I live in the United States. So if you do not live in the United States, what I say may not apply to you. Even if you do live in the U.S., it may not apply to you, depending on which state you live in. So always talk to an accountant and a lawyer about these kinds of things. I'm giving you my experience because that's what I know. and hopefully it gives you a little bit of guidance and an idea of what to expect down the road, but you should absolutely talk to a professional on your own. If you do not want to spend any money, Google offers all those same tools for free if you have a Gmail email address. So there's no reason, if as you're getting going, you can't just use your Gmail address. I used PayPal for payments for a very, very long time. Even when I had my agency up, I used PayPal. So it's free. There are some more advanced tools you can get in PayPal once you have a business set up, but even the basic personal version is great. And then for a website, you can use Weebly or Wix or Squarespace. Those are all free, and they'll get you a website nice and easily. You don't necessarily even need a domain name for them either. In terms of Gmail, if you're going to set up Google Apps for Business, they will walk you through it. It is a little complicated. So if you do have questions, feel free to shoot them into the comments here. I may put a video together depending how much feedback I get on how to set that up. If you're just going to use a Gmail account of your own, feel free to just set up a free one. You can use all the same tools. You may not have as much storage, but that's not as big a deal as you get going. There is a professionalism factor here, though. Having an email address with your domain name definitely helps make you look more like a professional. And if you're building a business, that's what you want. Something to keep in mind, not super important this early, but long term it will become important. In terms of PayPal, this is probably how you're going to get paid 75% of the time. I never accepted credit cards in my 9 years of freelancing and running an agency. I always made people pay through PayPal or by check or invoice or through Elance Escrow. It's all you really need. A personal account is free. It's easy to set up. There are some limits you have to get removed. A business account has far fewer limits, plus you can get credit and loans on it, but you do need a tax ID number, which we'll get to later. Again, this all applies in the United States. If you aren't in the United States, I'm not really sure how that works, but you can look into it. They have a really good service line if you call them up and want to ask those questions. All right. And then speed of payment. On PayPal, it's pretty quick. They always say 3 to 5 days to get your money out, but in my experience, it's more like 1 to 3, at least with a US bank account. And you can get a PayPal debit card and be able to remove it immediately, which I had for a while. And then PayPal has a credit system as well as a capital system. So if you need money invested into your business down the line, they can help you out there too. As for creating your website, when you get going here, keep it super simple, just so you can get something up. Ideally, you want something up here in the next 2 weeks. So building out a big, huge, massive website, not really worth it. WordPress is great because it's free and it has templates, and then all you have to do is write the content. Weebly or Squarespace have even more detailed templates. They're not nearly as powerful or as integrated as WordPress, but they will let you build out a lot of things. And then HostGator, at the most, you're going to spend $7 a month for basic hosting. So if you're on a budget, it's a great place to get started. And then when you build out that website, make sure it has your contact information, a portfolio of your work, an email sign-up list of some sort, blog and social media icons, and links to your other online profiles. So go to anthonychatfield.com if you want an example of what that looks like, or seattlefreelance.com is another good one. Doesn't have the social media icons or blog, but it has everything else there. You can see as one of my early freelance websites what I had involved. All right, so for today's actions, choose your email solution, whether you're paying or not. Create your PayPal account. You're going to need this regardless, so just get it going. If you plan on doing it, you can get your LLC rolling now. Again, I would consider waiting until the end of the month just to see where your income is at. That will still cost you a couple $100. And then create a simple website. Right now, today, probably you just want to create the account wherever it's going to live. But in the next few days, I'm going to help you build this out. I'm going to get into detail of how to create your website, how to get it rolling, whether it's WordPress or one of those other free sites. You really don't want to spend too much time on it, even if you're a perfectionist. If you're a developer right now, you're probably laughing at me and probably already have a website. But for the writers out there, for the designers, this is something where we just want to get something up to showcase your work and make it easy for people to contact you. It's the sole purpose, and we're going to get that done here in the next week or so. All right. So that's everything for today. Make sure you leave any comments or feedback here on the episode. And if you have any additional questions beyond this particular day, feel free to reach out to me directly. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you tomorrow.